She was everything. She was everything this world is not.
Now at noon, a mother's heartbreak after her daughter became the victim of a senseless shooting. Around 8 last night, gunfire struck this home on 13th and Hopkins, and you can still see where those bullets entered the home.
One of them struck 13-year-old Sandra Parks. She did not survive. And now we know a 26-year-old person of interest is in custody. Parks was an 8th grader at Keefe Avenue Middle School. And while her family continues to grieve, her mother took a moment to talk with our Sean Gallagher about her daughter's bright future cut short by violence.
It's been a long day for the Parks family, coming to grips with the fact that 13-year-old Sandra Parks is gone.
It's my baby, and it took her from me.
The painful reminders of her daughter's death are still on the side of Bernice Parks' home. But even through the tears, she was steadfast in honoring her daughter.
Sandra she was everything. She was everything this world is not. My baby was not violent. My baby did not like violence.
But violence took her daughter from her. Sandra Parks is the latest shooting victim under the age of 18 in the city. 4 have been killed and 50 were the victims of non-fatal shootings this year. But Sandra was more than a statistic.
She was my angel from the time she was in my womb to the time she came out. She's still gonna be my angel.
Surrounded by family today, they're remembering Sandra's life, her writing and her poems. She won an award for an essay on Martin Luther King Jr. and the impact she made in her short 13 years here.
Everybody that she knew, everybody that came her path, she made them happy. She didn't like for nobody to be sad or down.
The family has a vigil scheduled for tonight at 6 o'clock. At 13th and Hopkins, Sean Gallagher, today's TMJ4.
Within the last hour, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett spoke about the shooting. Our Pete Zervakis is live from City Hall with a recap of what the mayor said. Pete?
Well, Vince, the mayor told us homicides are down in Milwaukee this year. He then added that is little consolation when a 13-year-old girl is dead, according to MPD. And as you heard in Sean's reporting, Sandra Parks was killed last night when shots were fired into her home. The mayor says she was inside that home in the bedroom by herself. There were some other family members present in a different room. Now, with the suspect now in custody, the mayor says he's thankful that tips from the public came in quickly to help police make an arrest.
The fact that the residents stepped up is very, very important, because this is not just a police problem.
Alderman Russell Stamper, who represents the area, was also at the mayor's news conference. He said he's proud of his community. He also called for a more rigorous block watch, neighborhood meetings, maybe even neighborhood watch signs. Those were all ideas he threw out as ways to further prevent crime in his district, the 15th district, going forward. And of course, still no word from MPD. We just got a note from them. Still no word yet on a motive for this shooting. Live at City Hall, Pete Zervakis, today's TMJ4.
I send my condolences to 13-year-old Sandra Parks and her grieving family. Now, Sandra was in her room minding her own business. Gunshots went off. Everyone in the neighborhood and inside of their homes hit the deck, hit the floor. 13-year-old Sandra screams and holler, "I'm shot, I'm shot." Okay? Family calls 911, ambulance come out there. She did make it. Okay, now I'm going to read something from the NBC4i.com. It says, a 26-year-old man accusing of firing into a Milwaukee home and killing a 13-year-old girl in her living room may have been planning to shoot his ex-girlfriend. Prosecutors allege in a complaint filed Wednesday. Wow. According to the complaint, Isaac Barnes' ex-girlfriend said Barnes approached her wearing a black mask and holding a large AK-47 style firearm. He told her, "I was going to fan you down," but didn't because she had her kids in her parked car. So you have a uptick of Pookies and Ray Rays and beta males not getting their way with women and shooting up everything, killing innocent bystanders. And this 13-year-old girl, what makes this story even more crazy is that this 13-year-old girl wrote a paper. It made third place, but wrote a paper about gun violence. I'm going to read a little bit of her letter. Sometimes I sit back and I have to escape from what I see and hear every day. I put my headphones on and let the music take me away. I move to the best and try to think about life and what everything means. When I do, I come to the same conclusion. We are in a state of chaos. In the city in which I live, I hear and see examples of chaos almost every day. Little children are victims of senseless gun violence. And this year alone in Milwaukee, in this year alone, 50 people under the age of 18 were shot. This is a state of emergency. You have these Pookies and Ray Rays, these degenerates, these savages that are mowing down innocent children, gunning them down. You never ever heard a story where Pookie and Ray Ray was shooting his gun recklessly and a KKK member was struck on accident. Everyone who gets struck are the elderly and children. When immigrants come over, what do? They attack the children and the elderly. What Pookie and Ray Ray do in these communities, they attack the elderly and the children because they're cowards. They're cowards. And it's a shame that this girl was in constant fear, wrote about it, and then ended up dying. And what makes this story even more interesting is that every time a story like this happens, a situation, a tragedy like this occurs, there is no father present. It's sad. It seems like all the time, like 97, 98% of the time, when something happens like this in Black America, the father is never present. He's never nowhere around, nowhere to be seen. We can't even get a statement from him. And you have these women who deliberately date these savages. Mad because she doesn't want to be with him, or she's waking up saying, you know what, when I was younger, Pookie and Ray Ray was exciting and I thought that was attractive because that's all I knew. Now that I have gotten older, I'm growing out of the Pookie and Ray Ray phase, and now Pookie and Ray Ray can't handle it. He's stuck in that child mind frame. 26 years old, should be using that AK-47 to protect his community. Right? He should be protecting his community with that AK-47. And I bet if you ask him his opinion on racism, he'll tell you, oh, the system is racist. Oh, yeah, that evil white man. Right? But he has an AK-47 and he does absolutely nothing to the man he complains about every goddamn day. He don't get touched. And again, Black America is too busy sipping tea and gossiping to even put an end to this type of shit. Show me a video on YouTube where you have the content creator calling Pookie and Ray Ray and savages like this coons. This is cooning. This is cooning to the highest power. If you're going to use the word coon, use it in its proper context. This is cooning, not my opinion. And of course, you're going to have people who get mad because I pointed out savages like this. You actually have people who are on YouTube and they have a problem with you pointing out savages like this. They're like, hey, you're bashing black men. Like, actually, no, black men are bashing themselves when they behave like this. This don't make any sense. I did a video about a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago, and it was about a black cop who roughed up some black men who were hanging on a street corner. And you had people mad at me saying, kid, how can you, that's police brutality. How can you say, you're happy for that brother to get roughed up by a cop? And in that video, I said, these children walk out of their homes every day to gun violence, people shooting, fussing, fighting. She sees chaos. She even wrote about it. She is scared. She was scared that she could be another statistic. And unfortunately, she is another statistic. Thanks to the savages. I did a video, I believe it was 2 months ago, about another black female in Chicago. And she helped with her community, was working 2 jobs and going to school to be a nurse. And she was gunned down. And they haven't found the killers. And there were some people, commenters, that was pissed at me because I said it was Pookie and Ray Ray. They said, how can you say it was Pookie and Ray Ray and Hispanics? It could have been one of those racist Hispanic gangs. It could have, but more than likely it's Pookie and Ray Ray. There still are a lot of blacks in Compton. This idea that, Mexicans just moved in and moved blacks out. No, that's not true. You have a huge immigration population, but you still have a lot of blacks in Compton, and they are still gang banging in Compton. Black gangs, gang banging like it's 1989, like it's 92. And this is what I mean by cutting the excess fat off. When you go and work out, you go to the gym and you're looking to build muscle, you're looking to cut off fat, excess fat, belly fat. Pookie and Ray Ray is belly fat. It's time to cut Pookie's and Ray Ray's off. Because you're not going to call them out. You guys refuse to call out Pookies and Ray Rays. And that's just the way a lot of black Americans function. So this is going to keep on happening. I'm pretty sure this is a Democratic city. Milwaukee, yes. I guess Milwaukee is a big hood. I hear a lot of negative things that come out of Milwaukee. That area over there. I guess... as a matter of fact, I knew a person that used to go back and forth to Milwaukee, and they would always say there's a lot of black people out there. And I used to say, in Milwaukee? and she would be like, yeah, Milwaukee has a pretty big black population. So obviously, hey, it does. And it's a big ghetto, it looks like. And so this type of stuff happens every day. And you are holding these children and these innocent families, these innocent children hostage. This is your future, and you're gunning them down. You're gunning down the bright ones. And you see why people leave the hood and never, ever come back. And then when they don't come back, after you treated them like this, and then when they don't come back, you call them coons and sellouts and Sambos. That's how you guys are, man. I'm out. Peace.